What's good, people? Chi Brown, Consider Culture. I'm back. It's been a minute. One particular person, one individual on social media has brought me back from the dead. Now, I've been doing a business, so I haven't had a lot of time. I don't watch the news, so I can't really comment on what's going on with anything that's probably crazy in the news. I tuned out. I don't engage with the news. I've been trying to focus on me building a business, and that takes time and energy that I cannot put into analyzing the stories and all the nonsense that goes on along with them in the media, not doing a good job reporting and all the other stuff that I used to do. However, I do sometimes hop on social media and see what people are talking about, or I get on and I'll see a conversation that I feel like is engaging, or it doesn't. It's an evergreen kind of conversation, so it doesn't have any timely news references, and it's just about something that is right in my briar patch. And you know that this channel is all about race, for the most part, race and culture. So today I was on Nextdoor, and I got a little heated. I don't normally get heated by things, but it's just the accumulation of all these things that has brought me to a place where I just no longer want to tolerate certain things. And the one thing that I do not want to tolerate anymore is whites who may happen to be from the left. I think most of them happen to be leftists, but that I don't want people to focus on that. And I find that a lot of people, as soon as you start mentioning politics, they get all irate and everything. So I try to stay away from speaking about the fact that they happen to be on the left. They were on the left though. But anyway, and it was kind of a political discussion because it was in the politics section of Nextdoor, and I shouldn't have been there at the time, but I was wanting to see what was new. And sometimes it pops up the most popular thread that's on Nextdoor. I don't know if you go on Nextdoor, it's a little bit different than Facebook because it's people in your community and people who sometimes know me or I may run into at the grocery store. So it tends to have a different type of engagement than a Facebook, which is more national, and you may not ever see the people that you're discussing these things with. So I kind of like Nextdoor for that reason, because a lot of these people are my neighbors, and they're not just going to come start talking crazy because I'm going to come out and see you at some point. So anyway, there's this one particular white gentleman on there who posted this post about a Republican being tossed out of well, he didn't even mention the fact that he was tossed out, but a Republican that was elected, and he had said something that was supposedly racist or whatever. And he basically said, "Oh, all conservatives are like this." That was the basic statement. And I was like, I don't follow the news. I didn't even know who the politician was, but I was like, this is garbage. This is horse crap. And this is why. Right. And I don't know any conservative who would say that racism doesn't exist. And that was like the meme was saying conservatives consistently say that racism doesn't exist. People, that's not the conservative argument. First of all, the argument is not that we're saying that racism doesn't exist. We're saying what you're branding as racism is not racism. That's a difference. And when we say that something, he pointed out that multiple people had said that racism was non-existent. And I said, well, show me the quotes. And they started pulling Tucker Carlson quotes and Ben Shapiro quotes. And I'm like, I read the quotes and I was like, let me see the context. And I checked the context. They didn't say that. They basically said that systemic racism is an issue, basically. Systemic racism is different from real racism. They're two different things, right? The definitions are different in Wikipedia. The definitions are different in online dictionaries. They're just different. They didn't want to accept this. All right, fine. That's not my problem. My problem is whites who think that black problems are because of white people. Why does that bother me so much? I didn't really process it until today. White people, majority of them being on the left, who believe that all of black people's problems, and let me preface this with this. I'm going to say that this is mostly black folks on the left's doing. They created this monster. And they don't see it as being a monster, but I'm telling you, these white people are monstrous. And, I don't care what people may think about the word choice here. I think it's pretty evil, this thought process. And I'm going to dive into it right now. So basically, the thought process is that what blacks have become is due to the actions of whites, right? And in order for blacks to elevate out of what, the people who are on the bottom, blacks that are on the bottom, in order for them to get out of those situations, white people have to do a thing, whatever that thing may be, right? This is the logic of blacks on the left and whites on the left, and black people and their rhetoric on the left has created white people who are more hyper in tune to this way of thinking. And that's what this gentleman was today. He's just like hyper tuned into this idea that black problems will never get better until us white people help elevate you to levels that you need to be. You poor thing, black people, pet. That shit just sickens me, man. I don't understand why so many black people want this kind of treatment. It's nasty. It's just disgusting. But there are a lot of blacks who have created this kind of thinking from white people. And this guy really, he really got me heated because he's sitting here saying these things. And I suspect that this is how black people on the left feel when they see white people commenting and promoting the Candace Owenses and things of that nature. They get really all upset about it because they feel like Candace Owens is in support of white supremacy, which she's not, right? But this is what people don't get. White supremacy is only about whites being superior. So how do we determine whether white people are superior? Well, if you think that white people are the reason for black pain, black suffering, black gaps between wealth gap, health gap, education gap, if you think all of that is because of white people, then you think that they have the power to do these things, right? So you think they are superior in some sort. There's no way of getting around that. They have to be superior in some sort of form or fashion in order for them to be able to determine the outcomes of black people. Which means that successful black people are only successful because white people have elevated them to this status. Either they allowed them to get to that status, it's an allowance, or they have helped them by pushing them through affirmative action or whatever the case may be, right? They've effectively, they have to do more because they've taken so much away from us, right? So the oppression makes it so that we believe that they have to do for us. But if you believe that white people have to do for you in order for you to become successful, or if you believe that white people are the reason that black people are on the bottom, then you have to believe that white people have more power than you. And that means that they are superior in that way, right? That's superiority, which means you believe that black people are inferior to white people, which basically means you believe in white supremacy. That is white supremacy. In a nutshell, that is the definition of white supremacy. It's the definition of racism. If white people believe that they also are imperative to black elevation or black suppression or oppression, right? Preventing us from success. If it's their fault, if they believe that it is their fault, then they believe that they're superior to you, that they can prevent you from rising up and getting an education, that they can prevent you from being healthy, that they can prevent you from obtaining wealth just by the psychological measures. So psychologically, they must be more superior to you. How do you not see this, black folks? Black folks on the left, why I'm saying that you created this monster is because you're consistently trying to box white people in. It's real comfortable for you to box people in, white people in, so that they do things for you, right? I don't care if people don't like this. Look, I've been hiding my thoughts on these matters. I've been real calm and cool and collect. I haven't posted in like 2 years, but back when I was posting, I was real calm. I would write everything out. I still am that person. That is me. I'm not saying that I'm a different individual, but I'm saying that I had fear about losing a job, about losing my livelihood, and I very well may, if I continue along the lines that I feel like right now. And that is that many whites on the left feel superior, which basically is the definition of racism. If you know the definition of racism, if one race believes that their race is superior to another. Now, why this white person pissed me off today is because he was basically stating that all of these black problems, and he's like some sort of researcher at Ivy League school, whatever. He does all this research and things like that, and he's determined that because of his research, which is he made me coin a new phrase, and that is disparity research, because that's what researchers use to determine whether there's racism. Is basically if there's a difference in the outcomes for black people versus white people, then that means there's absolutely positively racism and systemic racism. That proves systemic racism. Okay, well, I've gone into detail as to why that doesn't make any sense, but you can check my other videos on that. The creation of this type of crap is going to harm us more than it's going to help. White people sitting here treating us like we're their 4-year-old children is not helpful. Here's some ways that black people are doing this. They're telling white people, you cannot talk to us about black stuff. Basically, you have no right to engage in conversations that speak about black people, especially negatively, right? That's when black people start going into this, oh, white people don't have the right stuff. It's ridiculous. People are people. We're human beings. At the end of the day, human beings have very similar experiences, whether they're black or white. Now, if you're poor or you're rich, those experiences will be different. Yes, they're more poor. There are more poor whites than there are poor blacks. But, I can't think of the measurement, but you know what I mean. At any rate, we cannot continue with this rhetoric, because what it's doing is it's making white people actually racist. Not this systemic crap that you believe is happening behind the scenes that nobody sees, and is somehow these white ghosts are just manipulating stuff and all this stuff behind the scenes. And no, this is real hardcore. I see it with my eyes, racism. And that is when they say that in order for black people to do well, white people have to do something. In order for them to do poorly, it's white fault. It's white people's fault. You're giving them way too much power, and they're power crazy in their minds, so they can come on to a place like next door and start talking to me as if I am a child, right? They start talking to you as if you're a child. They talk to your children at school as if your children are younger than the white kids in there. This is happening. A lot of whites on the left talk to you. Oh dear, how can I help you? How do you not see that this is problematic? It's like black people want this type of treatment. We want to be taught, treated like kids. It doesn't make, I mean, this is just, think about it. How many of us are advocating for people to not hold us responsible for things? The crime rates in black communities. Oh, blacks aren't responsible. White people will tell you real quick, and this is why this guy pissed me off, because he's like, oh, you can't talk about that. That's our fault. What? Wait, what? The crime rates in black communities are your fault somehow? Yeah, they're white people's fault. Okay, all right, you're robbing black people of agency. You're basically saying that we have no control of no self-control, which means that white people are basically, we're chess pieces on a white people's chessboard, and they're just moving us wherever they want us to go. If you're thinking like this, you've bought into the whole idea of white supremacy, and there's really nothing to say except you need to get out of it. I mean, this mental state that you're in is got to go. And I'm sorry, the majority of black people I know have this thought process, and they transfer it to the white people, who then put Black Lives Matter signs in their yard. And isn't it funny that all the gentrification that you claim is the problem, black people, is being done by your white leftist friends? Go into any community that has gentrification. You ain't seeing Republicans, bro. Sis, you ain't seeing Republicans. It is the it's Democrat white people. And I said I wouldn't be getting on the politics of it all, but come on, man. Look at who you're in bed with. You're rubbing elbows and laying down with the racists that you say are such a problem. And not only that, you're creating these racists that you say are such a problem. But you don't know the definition of racism. Come on, black folks. Racism is not white people that don't like you. That does not make somebody a racist. The definition of racism is they have to think that they're superior to you. A white person can love you to death. They can love the shit out of you. And guess what? They can still be racist because they think they're better than you. They're superior than you based on your race alone. They're not even thinking about you as an individual. They're thinking about you as a color. And you want them to do this. What are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? I don't get on here and rant very often. I don't rant at all. This is my first rant. I come back 2 years later and I'm ranting. But I'm angry because I don't like it when people are talking to us like children or treating us like children. I don't want my kids to be treated like children, even if they are children. I just don't want them to be looked at as if they don't have any control of themselves, and it's only because white people are either kind or bad to them that they become who they're going to become in life. White people don't have that much control over us. I make my own damn decisions. They don't make it for me. They don't make it for you. They don't make it for the black people who haven't made it. Those black people made their own choices. You cannot sit here and blame white people without giving them more power than they deserve. They do not deserve it. And this is not something, I'm not anti-white. I have 2 brothers who happen to be white. People didn't know that. And they're on the left. They're very much on the left, right? So, I'm just not happy with this. I'm not happy with the way things are going or the way things have gone. The mental state that black people are in America is detrimental to our well-being. If we want to do well, we have to eliminate the rhetoric. We have to eliminate this idea that without white people changing their actions, we can never be something. You're not reliant on white people. White people don't have to change a damn thing and we can still be successful. They can be exactly who they are, but you have to let them be who they are. You can't try and stop them from talking negatively about black folks if black folks are fucking up. How is that helpful? We should be correcting our own folks before they even spit it out of their mouth. If they start talking about the crime rates, we should have been saying it 10 seconds before they did. Because we should be policing our own folks so that they're not engaging in this kind of behavior instead of loving it and embracing our worst criminals. What other group does this? I was reading about Asians not too long ago. Asian American, I think it was in San Francisco or someplace like that. There was a big Asian community. And the Asian people would get out of line, right? They would get out of line and start engaging in criminal activity. Police started coming around. The community was worse off, right? What did the Asian people do? They knew the police were looking for these folks. They knew that they were engaging in these criminal activities. What did they do? They have a neighborhood meeting, right? They get together and they decide they're going to get rid of the criminals themselves. So they go in there, they beat the criminals down, right? Hang them by their toes in the middle of the city, in the middle of the neighborhood, so everybody knows about it. And then they call the police and say, "Come get these fuckers out of here. Come get them up out of here. We don't want them." Now, what are we doing with ours? Stop snitching. Don't talk. Don't say anything about this one. Don't say anything about that one. Oh, some little girl got shot. Well, we don't know. We didn't see what happened. I don't know what happened. 5,000 people were outside. Nobody saw shit. That's what we do, right? All of the music, and I love it too, the hip hop music is all promoting this stuff. How many lyrics do I know where people are talking about shooting, popping people, I shoot a nigga for no reason. Such and such and such, it doesn't gotta be a reason. Blah, 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 blah. Yo, man. Bro, this ain't it, man. This is not it. And I'm doing this rant because right now I'm comfortable where I am. I feel like I can do well with my business. I'm not as concerned about my job. I didn't get on here and talk like this before because I was worried that, if I said the wrong thing, I already got people at my job. They see me, their head is down. They don't want to look. I work at a HBCU. I'm going to be honest. I work at a HBCU. I don't care if people at the HBCU see this. I don't care what they think about this. I don't give a shit. Bro, I'm telling you, I just don't. Right now, I can do for myself. I'll be all right. Right? I'm tired of the nonsense. I'm tired of people looking at blacks as if we are not capable when I know damn well we are. I see successful black people all over the place at the place where I work, where they have this mindset that I'm advocating against right now. There's a reason why blacks who are middle and upper class and successful are the ones who are spewing the rhetoric the most. And the reason is because they're embarrassed by the people who are on the bottom. Let's just be honest. That's the truth of the matter. Those blacks who have made it because they identify as black first, other than being an individual. And that's another thing there's a black guy in the same forum, and he said, you conservatives are always talking about this individualism stuff, and I want to embrace my blackness. This is what he said, right? The problem with that is now you have to make excuses for the people on the bottom. Otherwise, you feel bad about yourself. And that is exactly what's happening. Blacks in the middle and upper class are embarrassed by the blacks on the bottom. They're going to say no. But I guarantee you that's what it is. I know it because I've had that feeling myself. I know what it feels like to be in a group that has the most problems. If you identify as black first and you're only thinking about race, then you already identify with all these criminals. All these people who are doing wrong. Right. And that's not to say there aren't criminals and people doing wrong in other races, but I'm just saying we got criminals who are promoting it and are pretty happy with it. We got TV shows about black criminals and movies about black criminals. A lot of them are celebrated. Songs about black criminals that are celebrated. Most of the rappers present themselves as former criminals or still engaged with crime or still engaged with violence, and we're celebrating them. So Yes, I came out of retirement to get on a rant. I don't know what's going on in the news today. I don't see what's going on in the news because I don't care. I'm too focused on what I'm doing, right? I may not get back on here for a while. I may choose to come rant again. But the reality of the situation is I don't care what you people think. I will be in the midst of you. I come outside. I'm not scared that you have different opinions than me. I'm not scared of you. You know, I'm not scared to speak my mind. And if the chips fall down and I don't have a job tomorrow or something goes on, I wish somebody would send this to somebody would push the go button and everybody in my vicinity would get it. Because, people know me all over the nation, I would guess now, but I have a very small platform compared to other people. So not everybody knows about these things. But guess what? This one is going up on my Facebook page. It's going up on my Instagram. It's going wherever I can put it. It probably won't go on Instagram because I guess they don't give you enough talk time there. But, I want people to promote it and basically say that this thing that we have here is now creating the racists. We have a group of black folks who are creating racism. They just don't know that what racism is. They think racism is white people hating them. No, that's not what racism is. Racism is one group thinks it's superior to another. And you're creating the terms that dictate that that's exactly what white people start thinking. And it's because of your insecurity that this is happening. Your inferiority complex has driven them to start thinking like you do. Because you're making them do that. Because you want them to stop being critical of you. You want them to stop pointing out your wrongdoings. A lot of people are like that. That's, a lot of the policies that people are advocating for are against responsibility, anti-responsibility policies. It's what people do. People don't want to take responsibility for their wrong actions or poor choices. They want other people to assume those responsibilities, and that other group now is the government. The government can assume the role of being the responsible parent while we all sit here and collectively act like children that don't know what the hell to do with ourselves. I'm not a child. You're not a child. Most of you are adults watching this. Act like adults. Act like adults, and embrace the fact that you have responsibility. And those responsibilities must be taken care of. And you can't point the finger at anybody else for the choices that you're making. At the end of the day, this is all about choice. It ain't about your race. It's not. Most of the things you claim to be racism are not racism. There are people that don't like you. Maybe. A lot of times it's not even that. But people don't like a lot of the culture that is that a lot of us black people embrace. I'm just going to be honest. I know black people who don't like the culture that we're talking about here. Black people will say, you going over there down to MLK? No, them niggas be acting ignorant. I know everybody has heard that kind of phrase from coming out of black folks' mouth, if you're black. Like, that's something we say to each other. They're going to act ignorant. I ain't going over there. Somebody might start shooting, might do this, might do that. We know it's there, but then when you're in public space, you can't talk about it. You act like it doesn't exist. Come on, man. We got to stop that. There's no way. You got to be like the Asians. We got to flog those people, hang them up by their feet, and put them in the middle of the city for everybody to see. We're not taking this anymore. Get these criminals up out of here. Police, come get them. Work with the police to come get these people up out of here because they're killing up everybody. Like the crime rates. I did hear the crime rates were spiking, but I knew that was happening before I got gone. I knew it was coming because you guys are advocating against police. You're with the criminals, and you've been sold a bill of goods that's not true. That police are sitting here shooting black people willy nilly, just for sport, and that's just nonsensical. You know it. We all know it. Everybody who's intellectually honest about this thing knows it. But no, again, it's about black people not wanting to accept responsibility, pinning everything on whites, and whites are willing to take it at this point because they think you're children, and you're having a tantrum, and they're parents who don't want to deal with tantrums. You ever see the parents who just can't deal with tantrums? They just let the kids do whatever the fuck they want. That's what white people have become in America. They think you're children, so now they're treating you like the children that they don't want to actually accept the responsibility and parent. It's sick. It's a whole sick situation because we're not children. They're not our parents. And we gotta get our minds right, man. White people and black people alike, we gotta get our minds right. This is not right. We are in control of our situation. White people are not. And anything that we do right or wrong is because of the choices that we're making at this point. Stop blaming white people. Stop. White people, you need to stop thinking that whatever you do is how we become either successful or become failures. Our success is not wrapped up in what you allow us, and our failure is not your fault either. So that's all I want to say. I know this is a long rant. I went on for a long time, but I want you all to share this. I mean, if you didn't share any of my videos, share this one because you know I want problem. I want smoke at my job. I want smoke on the street. I want the smoke. I want people to be like, this dude right here, man. I can't you know, I can't with this guy. That's what I want people to think when they see me, because I want to be ultra real while they're stuck in fantasy land. And you know, hopefully people will do more to stop thinking everything is race and instead consider that it might be culture. I'm She Brown, and I'm out.